Ya. Okey tu terlebih dahulu saya mengucapkan banyak ribuan terima kasih kepada semua yang sudi mendengar kita punya lebih kurang rancangan sharing together with my SKE Shine on route to professional technologies lah, or TS here. Okay, for your information, TS ni is one of the professional bodies under BOT, MBOT here, Malaysian Board of Technologies. So dia diiktiraf oleh our government juga. So juga dan diiktiraf juga oleh UTM as a professional bodies. So jadi kalau siapa yang tak ada IR tu bolehlah ambil, tapi dari segi IR memang lagi penting lah kita as engineering because of we need to have the IR in order to teach. Tapi but if the in not engineering macam computer science or faculty sciences apa, that is better, is good. They can count especially to those yang tak ada apa, tak ada PhD because they can count as a professional punya bodies technologies, so that kita boleh count our staff to be the professional lah. So this is very important. So saya expect that maybe not all from SKE lah, maybe some other faculties as well join this so that they can get some information lah. Okay, so by the end of this session, if you feel that you want to ask anything, you can ask my SKE Shine here. Okay, so first of all, I would like to introduce our SKE Shine today. The first speaker will be Dr. TSIR, Dr. Syed Aizizul, because he will be talking on introduction to TS technologies. The second speaker will be Dr. Noraini Zakaria, TS, Dr. Noraini Zakaria, and then she will be talking about route to graduate TS. So because before you become the professional, as usual, same thing, you have to become the graduate members juga, macam IR. Okay, kalau kamu lagi sama, if you are not registered for that, definitely you are not entitled to be the professional technologist. So the last one is our TS, Dr. Nurul Ashikin, where she'll be talking on route to professional TS and interview tips. So, and then before we start our presentation of our webinar today, so let me introduce the biodata of our speaker today. Right, so first speaker will be Dr. Syed Nur Azizul Syed Nasir. Okay, so he received the Bachelor Engineering degree in Electrical Engineering in 2008. Still new, so that's why he's my SKE Shine here. Master Engineering degree in Electrical Engineering 2014 and PhD Electrical Engineering in 2019. So recently, and then now he has IR and TS. Both, that's good. From University Tanjung Malaysia, Johor Bahru. He is currently a senior lecturer at University Tanjung Malaysia. He gained experience for more than 11 years with TNB in power system testing, maintenance, and commissioning. So his current research is interested in power system optimization and power system stability, harmonic mitigations, and their control methods. Alright, so the second speaker is our TS technologist, Dr. Noraini Zakaria. Okay, Dr. Noraini Zakaria received the Bachelor Engineering degree in Electronics and System Engineering University of Takushoku, Tokyo, Japan in 2004. After graduation, she spent a year as Industrial Engineering and Engineering Department in Pioneer Technology Malaysia, Snebak, and from 2006, she has served as a tutor at University Technology Malaysia. Before pursuing her Master Engineering Electronics and Electronics and Telecommunications in UTM, during a research area related to biomedical engineering field, which is focused on this one, EEG signal analysis, epilepsy patient predictions. In April 2011, she started a PhD study in biomedical engineering in Chiba University, Chiba, Japan, before continuing her works in Information Science Department in Nara Institute of Science and Technology, Nara, Japan. She received her PhD degree in September 2013, focusing on rehabilitation engineering. Since 2014, she is serving at the Faculty of Clinical Engineering, which is known as the School of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, UTM. Within the Faculty of Engineering, Electrical Engineering at UTM, she teaches a number of courses related to research and elementary to the electrical. Her research interests includes bioinstrumentation, biosignal interpretation, assistive device, rehabilitation engineering, and wearable technology. And our last speaker, TS Dr. Nurul Ashikin Abdul Qadir. Okay, Dr. Nurul Ashikin binti Abdul Qadir joined University MJS academician since January 2019. It's about 1 year already, more than 1 year, isn't it? She completed her PhD degree from Faculty of Engineering at UTM in the year 2017. Later in the same year, she enrolled as a postdoc researcher of an industrial grant sponsor by Crest Senja Berhad, which led by a private company, FlexTech Innovations, in collaboration with UTM, IJN, and QDOS Flexi Circuits in Berhad. As she received the academician offer from UTM in her second year of postdoc fellowships, she embraces both responsibilities as teaching is her tremendous projects. So she applied the technology professional by MBOT using industrial postdoc fellowship experience. Okay, so this is about our biodata for our 3 speakers today. My SKE shine here. They are very, very shine here. Okay, so I think without any delay, okay, I would like to invite our first speaker today, Dr. Technologies IR, Dr. Syed Nur Azizul Syed Nasser, to maybe briefly sharing the information on this introduction to TS or introduction to professional technologies. Okay, without further ado, so I would like to invite Dr. Syed Nur Azizul.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Yeah, you can share your slide now.
Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Prof. Kamal. Okay, so my presentation today is all about introduction to professional technologies. So basically, I will run this presentation in dual language. I'm not sure, is there any foreigner lecturer here? Okay, so I think I will run with in a dual language. Okay, I think Prof have mentioned about the professional technologies. Okay, so the introduction of MBOT. Okay, so MBOT is Malaysia Board of Technologies. In Malay we call that Lembaga Teknologi Malaysia. Same way untuk IR, BEM biasa kita panggil Lembaga Elektrik Malaysia. Untuk Technologies kita panggil Lembaga Teknologi Malaysia. Okay, ataupun MBOT, Malaysia Board of Technologies. Okay, so secara amnya MBOT ni kita ada 4 certification lah yang ada dalam ni saya tunjuk ni, which is first is the graduate technologies, next is a qualified technicians. Okay, so I think in my presentation I'm not focused on the technicians because most of I think we are focused on the graduate and also the professional technologies. Okay, so we have also qualified technician and also certified technician. Basically is for people who doesn't have a degree. Okay, more I think the less they have a CJ vocational or maybe they have a diploma. So they aim for the qualified technician and also certified technician. Okay. Okay, so this the key function of MBOT. Okay, ni antara fungsi asas MBOT ialah first to maintain the registration. Okay, and then next to regulate and conduct an ethic of technologies and technicians, and to promote education, and then to assess and approve reject application for registration and establish accreditation councils. Okay, basically the function is quite similar with the BEM. The only difference is the golongan yang terlibat lah. Okay, so basically MBOT focus more on the sarjana muda teknologi kejuruteraan. Okay, so for BEM, they focus on engineer, more on the electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, chemical engineer, and so on. Okay, so the basic concept is still the same. Okay, so I think before I go to the act, just to mention that to be an engineer in Malaysia, you have to register as a graduate engineer. Okay, under BEM. Okay, under BEM. Okay, however, if there is no law that require mana-mana engineer to register with MBOT. Okay, that means MBOT ni kalau nak kata dia is just a recommendation. There is no paksaan untuk daftar. Okay, different with the Jutra BEM, under BEM, because all engineer must register as a graduate engineer or engineering technologies. Okay, so because currently once the MBOT introduced what we call that graduate technologies and also professional technologies, there's a lot of confusion between graduate technologies from MBOT and also engineering technologies from BEM. Okay, so it's basically it's two separate things. Okay, it's from two bodies, so it's not the same. Okay, so for the act related to MBOT is there is two acts, which is the first is the Technologies and Technician Act 2015, and also we have what we call Technologies and Technician Regulation 2017. So basically MBOT is quite new in our country, because I think it just to what we call it, to support Malaysia RMK 10, which is to produce more graduate on they focus more on the skills and technology. Okay, so this is MBOT. Basically, they have 23 or 24 technology and technical field. So based on the website, there is a 23, but if go further, I think maybe the website is still not protected. So basically, they have a 24 technology and technical field. So I think for my field, for example, I'm from an electrical background. So my field should be electrical and electronic technology, EE. Okay, here. So, but you can see that there is a lot more what we call field, okay, that covered by the MBOT compared to the BM. Okay, BM, they just cover most of the basic needs of to be a nation. Okay, for example, they have electrical engineer, civil engineer, mechanical engineer. But for MBOT, they focus more on a lot of field here, so that they can produce what we call that, they can focus on skills and also the technology. Okay, so I'm not going to touch this. Okay, so benefit. Okay, so basically what happens if you have a graduate technologies and also professional technologies, the first what we can have is a recognition and acceptance, because individual design of TS, TC, they have an industrial acceptance. Okay, so I just give an example. Okay, previously, okay, for the field of ICT, okay, ICT in TS for ICT, okay, they have what we call that recognition. Okay, when we government tender, they have provide that the requirement to have the TS endorsement. Okay, so that's the example of recognition. Okay, but based on field that TS provide. Okay, for example, for ICT, they have the new way of to provide the services, so that they have what we call the professional recognition by the government. Okay, next is a talent mobility, which is to more opportunity for professionals from every level of technology field. Okay, since MBOT focus on 24 field, so they can some field that previously is not covered by BEM, so I think it's not exposed. The what we call that, the technology, the skill is not exposed as important or essential in Malaysia. But now, maybe in the future, maybe in 5 or 10 years, it become more significant, because the professional, the setup of the professional route here. Next is a lifelong learning. So basically MBOT adopt the CPD hours, I think same with the BEM, which will encourage professionals to attend professional course, and it can be done directly through TEP members. And also we have MBOT also have a technology fora and program, regular fora and program, which will be conducted by MBOT and TEP for each technology field. The fora, I mean, here is the opportunity for business and also some kind of forum, or maybe depend on any program that related to gather the professionalism. Okay, so this is the MBOT current membership. As I think this I just said today. So based here, so there's a lot of professional technologies here, 8,498, compared to the technician. I think more than half is just a technician, qualified technician, and also certified technician is just only 830. Okay, so basically, since MBOT basically start on 2018, now it's a 2021, so it's already more than 8,000 professional technologies. So there's still far to go. Okay. Okay. So what is the technologies? Okay, technologies means a person who belongs to a technological field that require the application of scientific or engineering knowledge and skills. Okay, so basically technologies, it doesn't mean it's from the electrical or civil or mechanical. It can be come from the, for example, green technology. It can be come from based on the 24 field that provided by MBOT. And also the new things on MBOT, we have a technician here. Okay, I think the MBOT is the only body in Malaysia that recognize the technician. Okay, by giving the what we call the recognition here. Okay, which is technician is mean a work in a field of technology who is proficient in the relevant skills and techniques, which a relatively practical understanding of the theoretical principles. Okay, so I'm not going to touch on the technician because most the participant here more I think interested on the technologies, graduate technologies, and also the professional technologies. And why MBOT is to recognize and accredit technologies, to recognize technician as a profession. Okay, so MBOT is a body to accredit, to give the recognition. Okay, so who can register? A person who hold any qualification in skills or technology recognized by MBOT. And okay, this is the members of MBOT based on the act, what we call that, based on Technologies and Technician Act. Okay, and the benchmarking, okay, how the MBOT is designed is based on what we call that, based on the Sydney Accord, Washington Accord, and Dublin Accord. This is, I think, if you're familiar with the EAC, I think we know what is the Sydney Accord, Washington Accord, and Dublin Accord. Okay, this is some kind of accreditation. Okay, that for example, our degree is accredited by EAC, but only EAC same in Washington Accord, if I'm mistaken. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the sum of recognition of MBOT, establishment of Skill Malaysia to raise awareness on TVET. Okay, I think previous we learned about the TVET. Okay, so establish of Malaysia Board of Technologies to recognize professional technologies. So basically, the MBOT is somehow is related more on the TVET industry. Okay, because there's more on the engineering technology, and also more on the technicians. Okay, so we call the technician is diploma and below. Okay, and also it's also considered as a draft for RNK 12, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this is the accredited program by MBOT. I think the same like BEM. BEM, they also have accredited program by BEM. Okay, so for example, our degree in UTM is accredited by BEM. Okay, for MBOT also, they have, I think just give the example here, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia UTM, so the Sarjana Muda Teknologi Kejuruteraan, pembuatan dengan kepujian. So this is the example of accredited. This means MBOT is a part of the accredited organization, okay, accredited body, okay, to meluluskan lah, okay, this course. Okay, we go on the route of normal. Okay, just this is from, for example, we have a Bachelor on Engineering here, which is recognized by BM, and we have here Bachelor of Technology Kejuruteraan, which is recognized by BM, and also we have Bachelor of Technology, which is recognized by MBOT. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, so I think if we are from UTM, I think most probably we are Bachelor of Engineering here. So basically, if we have from Bachelor of Engineering, we are entitled to be a Juruteraan Bergraduan, which is a graduate engineer. Okay, one, we can be a graduate engineer, and at the same time, we also can be the graduate technologist here. Okay, so they have two. Because if we are in, for example, my field is electrical engineering, so I have a two choice, whether to be a graduate engineer or technologist engineer, a graduate technologist, sorry. Okay, graduate engineer or graduate technologist. Okay, but if you have a Bachelor Technology Kejuruteraan recognized by BEM, okay, so basically this field cannot, is not valid to enter for graduate technologies yet. Okay, but they have to go for what we call the bridging program here. So I think I will go detail on that. Okay. Okay, and then we have a Bachelor Technology that recognized by MBOT. Okay, so basically currently there is no choice. The route for Bachelor of Technology, which is from MBOT, is to be the graduate technologist under MBOT. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic, I think the surface understanding on how to register, whether you want to choose the graduate engineer or the graduate technologist. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is what we call penada aras. Okay, professional mengikut piawaian antarabangsa. Okay, so for example untuk sebelum ni BM, okay, they use a Washington Accord. Okay, so the theory, the basic of Washington Accord is 80% theory and 20% practical. Okay, so when, for example, for electrical engineering course, okay, when we finish our bachelor in that recognized by Washington Accord and also BEM, so we can be a professional engineer. Okay, so you can be the graduate engineer and then go to the professional engineer. Okay, the different route for MBOT is they have a three mechanism here. Okay, for accreditation, which is ETAC, TAC, and also SAC here, which is Engineering Technology Accreditation Control, Technical Accreditation Council, and also Skills Accreditation Council. Okay, so basically they have a different method, which is this using the Sydney Accord accreditation, Dublin Accord, and also using the ACTA 652 2006. Okay, so it is under SKM, okay, our local. But the difference is that the percentage of theory and practical here. Okay, we can see that. Okay, because if the Sydney Accord want to register with the BM, so basically they can't register with the BM because it's not fully recognized because they only focus on 40% theory. Okay, so normally what they do is they have to register as a technologist professional. Okay, and then TS Ahmad. Okay, yeah. So the route is to be a technologist professional. Okay, same with the W Econ and ACTA is more on the what we call that diploma and below. Okay, so they become the technician, certified technician. Okay, so I think just give a simple example of how the introduction of MBOT, what is the difference between MBOT and BM. So I think I just give a similar, this is example of MBOT, this is the stamp, and this is for BEM, we have what we call, this is for PE, and this is for PEPC, Professional Engineer with Practicing Certificate. Okay, so what is the difference between BEM and MBOT in terms of recognizing the certificate is, okay, so we can see here, which is Okay, when we talk about the BEM, they're more on the system with the engineering technology education. Okay, that's mean more on theoretical research. Okay, this is for the theoretical research. This is for MBOT, and this is for BEM, more on the engineering education and more on the theoretical research. Okay, so I think this is the one. Another one is maybe this is the simple one. Okay, when we talk about technologies, they're more focused technologies and geotechnics is part of the MBOT here. Okay, so basically compared to the BEM is the BEM more on the theoretical part, which is more on the research, the reka bentuk produk, and also the pembangunan produk. Okay, compared to the technologies and geotechnic, more on the penyelenggaraan, penjualan teknikal, pengujian produk. Okay, so jurutera lebih cenderung bekerja dalam bidang reka bentuk dan pembangunan, and teknologis, juruteknik dan tukang lebih cenderung kepada kerja pembuatan dan penghasilan produk. Okay, maksudnya untuk teknologi juruteknik ni compare dengan requirement daripada BM, maksudnya dia MBOT ni lebih fokus kepada hands on. Okay, compared to the research. Okay, this is the act requirement by BEM. Okay, so I think I've mentioned previously, all the engineer, semua jurutera di Malaysia yang bekerja di mana-mana lah, tak kisah di kilang ke, di jabatan kerajaan ke atau mana-mana, perlu berdaftar dengan BEM sebagai graduate engineer. Okay, this is a part of the Registration Engineer Act 1967. Okay, so this is the route to be the graduate engineer, and then to be a professional engineer, and lastly to be a PEPC. Okay, how about the technology kejuruteraan that recognized by BM? Basically, there's some confusion. BM also have recognized some of the engineering technologies course. Okay, so it's not all under MBOT. It's a part of that is under BM, still under BM. So, but most probably the one that register under engineering technology, register under so for example Sarjana Muda Teknologi Kejuruteraan. Okay, so the route is to be an engineering technologist here under BM. Why BM have to create this term? It's just because of the Registration Engineer Act 1967, because all engineer must register with BM. Okay, so kalau sebelum ni dia tidak recognized by BM, so tapi dia bekerja sebagai engineer, dia boleh dikenakan tindakan undang-undang lah. Okay, so apa yang BM buat, they have to create this post which is engineering technologies. Okay, so that this engineer can register as engineering technologies. Okay, so that they fulfill the Registration Engineer Act. Okay, so the route of engineering technologies currently is to have a bridging program. The bridging program can be a master, can be a course conversion. Okay, so it's I think I'm not focused on this because we go for BEM, then there's a lot of course of this. And then after they finish the bridging program, they can register as a graduate engineer. Okay, but BEM have mentioned that the route of engineering technologies, rather than using the bridging program, they also will provide a new, which is professional technologies under BEM. So it's going to be very confused in the future because we have two professional technologies, one from BEM and another one from MBOT. Okay, so I just clarify here. So in the future, there might be two professional technologies, one from BEM and another one from MBOT. Okay, the difference is only if we are a graduate engineer, we cannot register as professional technologists. Okay, so the route for professional technologists by BM is only for engineering technologies. Okay, so this is the future part for engineering technologies under BM. Okay, for MBOT, so it's very straightforward, which is if the course is recognized by MBOT, so you can register as graduate technologist. Okay, and then future you can be a professional technologist. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, you have to fulfill 3 years experience. Okay, that experience doesn't have to be counted started from the graduate technologies. Okay, but I think Dr. Noraini will explain more on that. Okay, another one is the contribution to our university. Okay, I think Prof. Kamal have mentioned that if the number of staff with professional qualifications such as medical, engineer, architect, accountants, and if I'm not mistaken, is part of that is yes. Okay, so it's counted on the MIRA. Okay, so I think okay. So I think that's all for my presentation. So I think I will pass to Dr. Noraini. Thank you.
Okay, thank you IRTS Dr. Syed for giving a very, very good insight of what is the TS and DEM as well and MBOT. So now I would like to pass over to TS Dr. Noraini Zakaria for the title going to be route to the graduate TS. Without further ado, so I would like to invite Dr. Noraini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi semua. Terima kasih Pak. So, saya nak share slide dulu. Okay. Okay, saya basically nak cerita pasal how to apply the graduate technologies here. Jadi kita start dengan slide ni. So this is the timeline. Start daripada kita login MBOT punya website. Lepas tu kita kena apply for the graduate technologies dulu macam yang Dr. Syed ada mention dalam slide dia. Lepas tu baru kita boleh apply for the assessment dan ambil professional technologies and dapat TS. So part saya adalah graduate technologies je. So basically yang graduate technologies ni dia isi borang je. Okay. Graduate technologies ni adalah entry level registration of the in the MBOT untuk kita apply TS tu. Dan kita mestilah ada bachelor degree or higher dalam related technology field dan kita kena ada fee sebanyak RM50 untuk apply graduate technologies dan kita tak perlu bayar, dia just one time payment je untuk graduate technologies ni. Dan yang ni kita boleh claim dengan SKE yang RM50 ni. Okay. Lepas dapat graduate technologies, barulah kita boleh apply for the professional technologies with the minimum 3 years working experience untuk kita apply professional technologies after kita dapat di graduate technologies. First sekali untuk apply graduate technologies, kita kena login kat sini. Saya dah bagi link ada kat sini. Dan kita akan dapat page ni. Jadi akan page ni ada Dr. Syed tunjuk kat tadi. So page ni ada dalam MBOT. Lepas kita login kat sini. So first kali kita kena, sebab kita focus on the professional technologies kan. So kita akan ambil graduate technologies before kita apply the professional technologies. So kita klik dekat nombor 1 ni lah, graduate technologies dulu. Then kita register dulu lah. Kita kena register dulu kita punya account. Kita register now. Dan dia cakap kat sini dekat page ni, lepas kita klik tadi dekat page ni dia cakap kita minimum kena ada bachelor degree. Lepas tu kita kena dapat graduate technologies. Lepas dapat graduate technologies kita apply for the assessment tu yang interview. Apply for the assessment. Kemudian baru kita apply for the professional technologies dan kita dapat TS tu kalau lulus. Then after kita tekan register now kat sini, kita kena isi ni. Ada borang dia dan kita pilih kat sini graduate technologies. Kita pilih graduate technologies sini dan kita isilah kita punya IC, nama semua dan email. Email ni dia akan guna untuk hantar verification Lepas pada kita klik register ni, dia hantar email verification ni dan kita check email dan kita dapat kita kena activate kita punya account tu dan kita dapatlah kita punya account. Dan lepas dapat kita punya account ni, kita kena apply for the certificate ni kan. Kita apply certificate graduate technologist ni. Dan kita kena isi segala maklumat ni. Maklumat yang dia nak ni. Termasuk academic qualification. So before isi borang ni, kita kena prepare certificate, degree certificate. Sebab kalau kita isi saja tak attach file ni, kita tak boleh add. Jadi kita tak boleh proceed lah sebelum kita apply, masukkan maklumat-maklumat ni, kita prepare dulu soft copy of this certificate untuk kita uploadkan kat page ni. Kita isilah semua ni, kita add lah segala maklumat yang ada, kemudian dia pergi next, isi working experience. Working experience ni dia nak offer letter, biasanya offer letter ataupun letter-letter yang berkenaan lah. Nanti ada Dr. Ashikin akan tunjuk contoh letter selain daripada offer letter. Kalau saya punya, saya letak offer letter lah daripada company sebelum-sebelum ni dan juga offer letter UTM tu. Kemudian kita attach CV. Dapat attach CV, kita tick semua tiga-tiga ni dan kita submit. Itu je. Itu je borang yang perlu untuk kita, form yang perlu untuk kita apply di graduate technologist. Lepas kita submit, dia akan hantar email kat kita. Dia cakap almost complete dan kita kena bayar dulu RM50 ni, baru dia bagi kita graduate technologist tu. Proceed to pay dan bayar RM50, dapatlah graduate technologist. Dia tak dapat terus, dia akan tunggu beberapa hari dalam sebulan juga saya rasa hari tu untuk dapatkan email yang congratulations your graduate technologist has been approved ni. Dan masa ni barulah dekat kita punya, lepas kita dapat email ni, dekat kita punya account ni akan dapat graduate technologist completed. Itu je untuk apply graduate technologist. Then untuk apply professional technologist, kita proceed dengan Dr. Ashikin. Ashikin boleh?
Okay, dah settle lah.
Settle. Sekejap je Pak.
Okay, terima kasih. Mungkin at the end nanti kalau kita ada session untuk soal jawab, maybe kita boleh bagi. And then next kita nak jemput TS Dr. Nur Ashikin lah. Okay, for the last presentation. And then after that, maybe we can have Q&A so that everybody can ni lah. Okay, can ask whatever information they tak faham or whatever to all our SKE Shine here. Okay, so please over to you, Dr. Nur Ashikin.
Okay, terima kasih Prof. Kamal. Terima kasih Dr. Aini. Okay, saya akan continue cara untuk kita memohon profesional. Boleh nampak kan saya punya slide kan? Okay, so yang ni ialah flowchart dia daripada kita ada graduate technologist tu, kita boleh mohon application for professional technologist ni. Tetapi dia ada assessment yang mana kita perlu bayar sebanyak RM600. Okay, lepas kita assessment ni kita akan dapat notification sama ada assessment kita tu berjaya ataupun tidak. Dan kita perlu bayar untuk dapat dia punya sertifikat lah sebanyak RM350 pula lepas tu. Okay, so yang ni ialah timeline untuk saya punya permohonan hari tu. Saya punya professional technologist ni ambil masa dalam 3 bulan je. Yang sebelum tu graduate teknologi saya delay mohon untuk professional technologist ni sebab kita perlu tunggu 3 tahun permohonan ni ada delay lah daripada 2019 saya mohon. Lepas tu 2020 baru permohonan professional technologist ni selesai. Okay, mula-mula sekali kita perlu log on to mbot.org.my ni. Pada kita punya my account, kita akan dapat tengok dekat selected certificate ni, dia ada tulis edit. Dekat edit ni dia akan keluar apa yang kita boleh mohon. So untuk saya dan juga TS Dr. Aini, kami dah ada graduate technologies ni, jadinya dekat dalam edit tab ni dia akan keluar professional technologies. Okay, so yang inilah yang kita perlu isi untuk kita dapat certified TS tu. Okay, lepas tu kita perlu update our working details, juga apa tu, kita kena isilah dekat sini kita punya field of technology, nama company, company address, dan juga kita punya service yang belah kiri ni example saya punya surat postdoc lah saya letak sebab saya punya industri postdoc ni lebih lama berbanding saya punya kerja pensyarah. Dan yang tengah ni example of kalau kita kerja UTM lah, kalau kita nak apa tu confirmation letter. Yang ni kita kalau di SKE kita boleh minta dengan PSM untuk dapatkan surat ni kepada kita dan kita boleh attach surat ini dalam permohonan tersebut. Okay, lepas tu kita perlu update juga kita punya CV. CV ni perlu update sebabnya nanti sewaktu assessment tu panel tu dia akan tanya soalan yang apa tu merangkumi apa yang kita isi dalam kita punya CV ni. Okay, yang paling penting sekali kita perlu sentiasa check lah kita punya registered email tu sebab MBOT ni dia selalu bagi email untuk maklumkan yang kita punya apa tadi permohonan yang kita dah okay. So kita perlu check email selalu lah sebab kalau kita tak bayar kita tak boleh masuk dia punya assessment. Okay, lepas dah bayar assessment ni kita akan dapat email notis temuduga. Nanti dia akan bagi tarikh dan waktu untuk kita pilih. Kalau kita terlambat pilih waktu tu dia akan bagi kita waktu lain. Okay, lepas tu kita akan dapatlah lepas berjaya interview tu kita akan dapat congratulations. Dan dekat kita punya my account ni kita akan dapat tengok kita dah ada 2 application. Satu graduate technologies dan satu lagi ialah professional technologies. Alright. Cumanya untuk professional technologies ni dia hanya sah selama 1 tahun sahaja. Jadinya kita perlu renew dia. Untuk renew ni, untuk renew kita punya professionalism ni, kita boleh pilih sama ada kita nak khusus yang berkaitan dengan kita punya field ataupun kita boleh juga yang ni paling simple lah, kita bayar je. Sama ada RM200 ataupun RM100. Okay, boleh pilihlah yang mana. So kalau untuk yang CPD, kalau kita go through the website, dia akan bagi list of types of activities yang dia certified dan juga berapa CPD yang dia yang MBOT berikan. So contohnya kita ada, sebab dekat UTM pun kita ada CPD ni kan. Jadinya kita hanya sertakan bukti-bukti ni, kita email kepada MBOT untuk dia endorse berapa CPD yang kita layak untuk program tersebut. So kalau kita tengok sini, kalau kita ada workshop ataupun training, kita boleh dapat maksimum dapat 15. Kalau conference, seminar macam kita set up conference ni biasanya dapat 6 lah. Boleh bacalah dekat through the website tu. Lepas tu ni pun ada lagi yang dekat website MBOT tu. Okay, apa yang penting ialah invitation letter, proof of attendance, program book dan juga program structure. Okay, ini semua kita kena email lah dekat MBOT tu. Cumanya untuk tahun 2020 dia tak ada renewal macam ni, dia dapat macam automatic macam TS Dr. Syed dapat automatic renewal. Cuma kalau saya dengan Dr. Aini sebab kami baru dapat tahun lepas, jadinya untuk tahun depan mungkin kami kena fikirkanlah macam mana nak isi CPD ni. Kami pun tak ada pengalaman lagi nak buat benda ni. Okay, so yang ni saya akan sharekan interview approach sewaktu assessment tu. So oleh kerana kita sekarang ni musim COVID kan, jadinya interview ni dia akan buat online je. So kami pergi interview melalui Skype. Okay, sekejap. Okay. So macam biasalah interview etika ni yang ni macam semua orang pensyarah pun tahu kan. Nanti boleh baca lah. Lepas tu area of assessment yang di-assess oleh MBOT hanya dua, iaitu competence dan juga commitment. So kalau competence ni dia akan tengok kita punya knowledge and understanding, application to practice, and also kita punya leadership or management commitment dekat kalau kita pensyarah, kita share lah kita punya kompetensi dekat universiti, dan juga kita punya komitmen ni dia tengok kita punya interpersonal skills dan juga professional conduct. Okay, so dalam slide ni dia ada a few lah yang dia punya kategori A, B, C, D, E ni, berapa yang dia dia assess. So kalau untuk knowledge ni sama ada basic ataupun current. Kita punya panel tu dia akan tanya kita sama ada soalan basic ke, soalan terkini ke, relevansi kita punya research dengan current teknologi dia nak kita tahulah yang apa yang kita buat, apa yang kita buat research tu sesuai lah dengan advanced teknologi yang terkini. Lepas tu dia tengok juga, dia nak tahu juga kita punya practice. Okay, practice kita tu kita ceritalah apa yang kita apply. Management skills pun dia nak tahu. So masa assessment tu kita perlu ceritalah apa yang kita apa yang outstanding yang kita buat. Okay, interpersonal skills ni bolehlah macam teamwork ke, komunikasi, kita punya innovation. Ada juga yang kawan-kawan TS yang lain cakap, dia tanya apa innovation yang kita buat yang boleh membantu masyarakat, macam tu lah. Knowledge and understanding ni semua bergantung pada research kita lah, apa yang experience kita semua tu. Yang ni nanti semua orang boleh baca sendirilah kan, slide ni akan diberikan kan. Okay, application to practice, sebab yang paling penting ialah experience ataupun assessments yang ditanya oleh panel MBOT ni. So kalau ni kami dah compile kan daripada beberapa kawan yang dah dapat certified professional technologists ni, apakah soalan yang ditanya kepada mereka sewaktu assessment. So oleh kerana kami semua daripada EE field, Electronic and Electrical Engineering field. So yang apa yang tertera kat sini semuanya yang related to EE field lah, yang kawan-kawan kami dan juga kami experience. So dia tanya apa involvement in CSR and industry, then management for big project, technical experiences, and then how to mengurus projek atau penyelidikan. And then about the assessment, it depend on the panel to assess in English or in Bahasa. So if they start with English, then we need to answer in English. But if they start with Bahasa, then we continue with in Bahasa. Okay. And then this is another experience from our friends. So this one being asked about how to use their expertise during COVID-19, and also how to what is the risk and issues in doing the project, and then anything that being asked is all about your expertise. So that because sometimes we do a lot of work and then we almost forget what have been done, right? But I think it's okay because we just study our CV and then we just get ready for the assessment. So this is interesting question. If the candidate PhD is not related to the electrical engineering field, and then the panel asks how does it relate back to electronic, and then so you need to back up yourself. And then what is your plan after you get certified, get professional certified technologies? Okay, so there is also question about the act which have been told by Dr. Syed earlier. Okay, that's it from our presentation.
Habis betul lah Syikin. Thank you very much. Okay, now we open to any questions that you want to ask related to this professional technologies to the panel here, so that we can share together. Okay, is there any, you can write on the chat box here, or maybe you can just use your mic to ask the question if you feel that you want to ask related works towards these technologies, professional technologies. I hope that everybody clear about this how to edit tips for us to become the professional technologists. Okay, you can fill the forms here,
Assalamualaikum Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Oh, nak tanya je dengan panel, masa kita Skype tu dia tak ada tanya teori-teori masa kita undergrad semua tu.
Oh, okey.
Teori-teori engineering ke apa ke.
Siapa ni Nur Azlina daripada mana
Pagu. Dari Pagu.
Oh, Pagu. Okey, orang jauh tu orang Pagu. Okey. Boleh Syikin nak jawab?
Boleh. Kalau untuk saya dan juga kawan-kawan yang saya tanya lah, dia orang tak ada pula tanya teori yang keluar-keluar formula semua tu, tak ada lah. Cuma dia tanya apa yang kita buat tu, apa relevan dengan realistik tak apa yang kita buat. Tak ada
yang penting experience kita.
Experience Okay, noted. Masih.
Kadang-kadang malah kalau macam senior macam saya ni kelakar pula bila dia kata saya nak tanya apa saya kelakar pula kan. Orang yang interview tu pun memang muda kan. So dia orang kata memang kalau tengok CV ni tak payah nak tanya apa lagi Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, is there any more question?
Saya nak tanya boleh?
Boleh Nurul.
Okay, saya nak tanya, kata tadi kalau kita nak apply for professional technologies, kita kena bayar 600 kan?
Betul.
Kalau yang tu yang kita claim dekat SKE boleh ke instead of RM50 tu?
Itu saya rasa tak kot, tak sure. Tapi kalau grant boleh.
Kalau apa?
If you have grant.
Banyak sangat lah kalau IR 600, yang ni 600 pingsan.
Tapi kalau ada grant, saya rasa okey je, tak ada masalah. Terus grant kita yang UTM lah. Tapi kalau KPT pun dia tak bagi juga.
Itulah masalahnya. Tu yang saya nak jelaskan, kalau boleh claim dekat SKE, maksudnya tak perlulah claim yang RM50 tu kan. Claim yang 600 lah.
Dia tahu yang kalau SKE pun dia galakkan yang actually yang IR tu.
Oh, okey.
Okey, terima kasih. Ada lagi soalan?
Satu lagi soalan. Daripada jangka masa dah accepted sebagai graduate technologist tu, memang boleh apply terus lah professional technologist tu?
Boleh dengan kalau kita punya work experience tu lebih 3 tahun memang dah boleh lah.
Lepas tu yang work experience tu, surat tu memang kena datang daripada, katalah kita buat LI, datang daripada majikan LI dulu ke?
Betul.
Okey.
Ataupun Kak Dr. Muazzah boleh je ambil surat daripada office yang PSM tu.
Tapi surat pada office di UTM kan?
Di UTM tu pun nanti sebab dalam kita punya CV tu kan walaupun kerja pensyarah kan ada kita pergi LI, student.
Actually saya dah apply sebagai graduate technologist, tapi saya untuk surat wajikan tu saya guna surat yang beralamatkan kepada BEM. Tapi dia terima je. So untuk professional technologist kena upload benda yang sama macam graduate ke macam mana? Ke dia akan ambil daripada graduate technologist tu juga? Faham ke soalan saya? Maksudnya bila kita apply,
bila kita apply yang graduate tu kan, sebab Dr. Muazzah dah ada surat yang lama tu, kalau surat yang lama tu dah cukup tempoh bekerja dia, memang kita boleh guna je surat sama.
Maksudnya waktu dekat kita nak klik professional technologist tu, kita tak perlu upload dokumen baru pun. Kita boleh guna sama je. Okey.
Cuma untuk kes saya, sebab saya surat yang saya mohon masa graduate technologist tu tak cukup 3 tahun. Jadinya saya kena upload surat baru.
Okey. Thank you.
Pensyarah kita ni ramai yang memang lebih daripada layak pun nak apply tu. So jadi tak ada masalah lah.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum Asmawati. Orang nak tanya yang daripada berapa lama dia notify kita untuk interview tu berapa lama? Contohnya sebulan dia notify baru interview ataupun ad hoc juga. And yang kedua, contoh macam mana you defend yourself, kenapa you apply TS and what's your plan after this? Okay.
Kalau
Kak ini jawab.
kalau yang first tadi apa?
Nama interview.
Email tu kan, bagi email tu dalam 2 minggu Shikin kita. Kan timeline
kita dalam 2 minggu
lah untuk kita sebelum kita interview tu.
Cuma saya perasan lah kalau yang kita mohon masa COVID ni, dia macam cepat sikit proses dia. Yang kawan-kawan yang mohon sebelum COVID tu, dia macam lama sikit. Macam 3 bulan baru dapat notis untuk assessment. So macam
jawapan yang kedua dan ketiga. How to defend your why you apply for TS and what's your plan after you got the TS title tu?
Saya tak dapat soalan tu.
Saya pun tak dapat soalan tu.
Saya dapat. Saya cakap saya nak apply TS ni because sometimes I need to go for technologist accreditation other universities. So that I need to have that as well lah to prove that we are in the technology. Because sometimes kita go for kita dilantik sebagai panel teknologi untuk certain kursus di certain university, and then kalau kita tak ada tu macam tak ada professional lah. Jadi bila dalam konteks tu okey dia baru mengganggu. Okey tak apa. Itu that's my answer to them lah. Okey. Ada apa lagi? Dr. As?
Yang nombor 3 tu
Plan after TS tu.
Plan.
Kalau plan tu basically kita nak guna kita punya TS tu untuk nak buat accreditation kepada universiti mana yang ada teknologi punya program lah. Okay?
Terima kasih. Nanti boleh berguru lebih sikit lah.
Okay, no problem.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Prof, dengan panel nak tanya, ada tak clash dari segi TS dengan BEM? Contohnya dengan IR kita bidang lain, more to the engineering. For example, chemical engineering. But for the TS, kita apply for another area.
Itu tak. Okay, siapa nak jawab?
Yang tu saya jawab kot. Okay, actually MBOT dia dah nyatakan dah kot. Mana-mana sebab MBOT ni yang the latest one kan. So mana-mana yang sebelum ni telah pun contohnya endorsed by IR. So basically TS tak boleh kacau lah.
Tapi kalau dia dalam proses untuk apply both?
Masuk both tu?
Maksudnya dia apply IR juga dan dia apply for TS juga.
TS juga, okay. Tak ada masalah.
Tak ada masalah
Tak ada masalah. Cuma dari segi penggunaannya lah.
penggunaan dia, betul.
MBOT dah nyatakan kalau katalah drawing ke apa-apa yang sebelum ni endorsed by IR. So basically TS tak boleh not valid lah.
Okay. So dia memang tak ada, sebab nanti takutlah kalau ada soalan mengatakan you already have IR, kenapa you nak apply TS?
Oh tak ada. Dia tak tanya. Dia takkan tanya macam tu.
Kan?
Okay.
Sebab IR you bidang contohlah bidang chemical engineering, tapi you punya TS bidang nano dan sebagainya.
So rasa tak ada, sebab itu lagi mudah kot. Sebab kalau bidang yang berlainan, mungkin jawapan yang paling simple adalah sebab MBOT dia fokus pada skill dan teknologi. So mungkin bidang yang tu maksudnya dia fokus pada skill tersebut. So IR ni more pada bidang-bidang yang memang dah sedia ada lah.
Okay. Alright, terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum. Saya Nadia.
Waalaikumsalam.
Nak tanya sikit berkenaan dengan pengalaman kerja. Jadi berapa tahun pengalaman kerja yang diperlukan untuk membolehkan kita apply TS tu?
Siapa nak jawab? Asyikin.
Untuk TS tu kita perlu pengalaman kerja minimum 3 tahun. Lepas tu kita dah boleh mula untuk teknologis tu.
Okay. So kalau katakanlah kita dah lama tak ada pengalaman bekerja dalam bidang tu. Contohnya lepas kita grad, kita ada pengalaman kerja dalam bidang mungkin 4 tahun. Lepas tu kita tinggalkan selama beberapa tahun. Lepas tu kita nak apply tu. Dia boleh ke ataupun dia kena yang terkini?
Kalau ikut bidang tu maksud Dr. Nadia, maknanya yang masa 4 tahun tu bidang bukan EE lah.
Bidang EE lah. Cuma maksudnya towards nak apply TS tu, dia bekerja bukan dalam bidang, mungkin bidang pengurusan dia.
Sebabnya nanti dia akan minta kita masukkan surat tu untuk field yang kita pilih. Jadi maknanya kita dah letak siap-siap lah surat tu according to kita punya field of expertise. Maknanya surat tu sama dengan yang kita akan masuk assessment tu.
Oh, okay. Sebab dalam working experience tu dia kena ada, currently bidang dia kena sama lah kita punya working experience dengan
sebabnya semasa assessment tu kita punya panel tu dia akan bagi ikut kita punya expertise field yang kita mohon. So kalau kita letak field lain, lepas tu kita letak surat lain, nanti takut masa interview tu panel tu dia field lain, tak sama dengan surat kita yang latest tu.
Okay. Satu lagi soalan berkenaan dengan assessment. Kalau IR kan dia ada essay kan? Kalau TS ada essay ataupun hanya interview?
Interview saja.
Oh, interview saja. Okay.
Interview saja.
Alright. Terima kasih.
Sebenarnya sekarang agak mudah. Saya tak sure in future. Mungkin dia akan buat macam sama dengan IR juga. Ada assessment, ada report, ada interview. At this moment agak simple sikit lah compare to IR. Tapi in future saya rasa kalau dah ramai, dah banyak ada, so jadi dia nak limit, this is how they are going to do as well lah saya rasa. Okay. Nak ambil sekarang lah. Tumpang agak mudah itu pun tak adalah mudah sangat. Bila interview tu prepare lah soalan-soalan yang seperti yang Dr. Nashikin bagi tadi.
Dekat chat ni ada yang tanya, Dr. Azwar ni tanya how to claim RM50 ni kan. Okay, sebenarnya kalau tengok dekat timeline tadi, kita ada assessment fee ada 600. Lepas assessment tu berjaya, kita perlu bayar lagi 350. So sebenarnya yang kita boleh mohon ialah yang RM50 tu dengan 350. Yang 600 tu memang tak boleh sebab itu ialah assessment fee. Jadinya untuk kita mohon tu, yang ni bergantung pada skul masing-masing. Untuk proses tu jadi boleh tanya ni lah, bahagian kewangan skul masing-masing lah. Sebab dia akan guna vote daripada skul masing-masing kan. Cumanya untuk kalau skul electrical, macam Prof Kamal cakap tadi lah, kita dah apa tu, dia tak bagi claim kan yang ni.
Bagi claim dia, maksud dia bagi priority kepada BEM punya IR. Tapi kalau ada lebihan boleh je yang sebenarnya. But that particular year pun tak habis pun kadang-kadang. Tak sure. Tapi kalau that year habis, memang tak ada lah. Itu je. Apa lagi ya? Kalau tak ada apa nak tanya, so saya nak stop di sini. So jadi saya nak mengucapkan banyak ribuan terima kasih kepada SKI Shine saya, iaitu IRTS Dr. Syed Nur Azizul Sainasir, TS Dr. Nuraini Zakaria, and TS Dr. Nur Ashikin. Okay, so jadi supaya apa yang diberi ni kita mendapat manfaat bersama. So kalau boleh lah, kalau kita sama-sama onkan video, kita take one photo all together, boleh? Yang lain. Okay, kalau siapa yang ada dekat rumah tu susah sikit lah kan, yang tak pakai tudung lah. Tapi kalau siapa yang okay, ada boleh on je video. Kita just take as a proof that kita ada this session. Okay, please. Ada tak? Senyap je semua. Okay, kalau yang siapa yang tak nak on tu, tak boleh buat apa lah, tak boleh paksa. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, alright. So anyway, thank you once again. So jadi kita jumpa the next sesi, next month bulan 3. So every month kita ada. Kita akan buat on research pula untuk next month, SKI Shine kita. Okay, so jadi saya ucapkan lagi sekali, saya ucapkan banyak terima kasih ya. Kepada kita sudahi dengan tasbih kifarah dan surah Wal Asr.